Live from Toledo, this is 13 ABC Action News.
Hello, Toledo. We love Toledo.
A historic day for our city. President Donald Trump rallying in Toledo tonight, his first campaign stop in 2020, but also his first stop amid rising tensions with Iran. Good evening, everyone. I'm Diane Larson. Thanks for sticking with our coverage throughout the day.
And I'm Lee Conklin. The president's visit also coming on the heels of his impending impeachment trial. And as you can see on your screens, thousands showing up tonight to hear what the president had to say. I got a chance to talk with the president one-on-one. We were the only local television station to get to interview the president. Mr. President, you were here 3 times in Toledo in 2016, leading up to the election there. You're back to start out 2020 here, to start off this campaign really in earnest, although you were in Battle Creek not long ago.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're in Toledo. Why are you starting it here this year?
Well, it's Ohio, and it's been a special state for us. This is our first rally of the year, and really the first rally since we go into the new push for 2020. And Toledo's been great. Toledo, Ohio, I have so many friends, but here. But it's a great place, and it's been a little bit lucky, as you say. I think we're at, probably 3 times we were here. Mm-hmm. It's really great.
I want to go back to Tuesday night, about 5:30 local time here in Toledo, in Eastern time. If you can, take us back to what you were thinking about 5:30 when bases with U.S. troops had been attacked by Iran. What were you thinking before you heard, Mr. President, about the possibility of American casualties or damage? What was going through your head?
Well, I thought it was a probability, not even a possibility. We had heard that initially it was 11, and then 12, and then 14, and then ultimately 16 missiles were sent in. We knew pretty much where they were going. We had a lot of great intelligence, frankly, but we knew where they were going, and they were big and they were fast. And I tell you what, we were very happy when we learned not only nobody was killed, but nobody was even hurt. And they landed in areas that were very good as far as I was concerned. So you had 16. I think 4 of them didn't reach the location, and the other 12 were, they didn't hit. Perhaps they didn't want to hit or something happened, but there was nobody hurt, nobody injured. And I think I was very happily surprised.
If Iran were to strike again or threaten to strike, would you consider going to Congress, consulting with Congress about authorization?
Well, you have to keep presidential power, so we'll decide maybe should that happen. I don't see that happening, but we have to have a position where we can do what we have to do if we have to do it. So we're talking right now to Congress. We're negotiating with a lot of different people, but we have to keep that presidential power. You have to be able to make a decision, I mean, literally sometimes on a dime's notice. So we'll be seeing what's going on. I think we're getting some very
You're considering it, though?
No, we're getting some very positive responses from Congress right now. They know what we have to do.
Tell the people of Northwest Ohio, the farmers here who have struggled, the auto worker, the manufacturer in Dundee, Michigan, Defiance, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, that USMCA will help them. How will it do that?
It's going to be tremendous. Tremendous for the farmer, tremendous for the auto workers. You know, we have a whole special thing for the auto workers with Mexico, and we're not going to be taking companies out of our places anymore. It's one of the reasons I ran. If you want to know the truth, I would sit back and as a civilian, I'd say, why are all these companies leaving, going to Mexico, some to Canada, but in the auto case, mostly to Mexico? The tariffs that they put on your farmers were so terrible up into Canada, and all of that goes away. We have an unbelievable situation.
All right, President Trump on USMCA, Senate expected to pass it within the coming weeks. We also, Diane, discussed Iran's nuclear capability. How can the president promise that there will not be a nuclear bomb, that Iran will not have a nuclear bomb on his watch? How can you promise that? In the threat of cyber terrorism, Homeland Security issuing an alert today. What's being done to safeguard our computer, our banking systems, our grids? So
you asked those questions of him as well.
And folks, can look forward to seeing what the president will have to say about that.
And you'll have that all online, right?
Then that goes to what's happening right here. We want our viewers to know.
Yeah, Lee's entire interview with the president on our website, 13abc.com. Starting tomorrow morning at 6, we're going to hear another segment of that exclusive interview. Now, turning back to the main event, President Trump speaking to a packed house tonight at the Huntington Center. 13ABC's Michaela Marshall breaking down the highlights of the president's speech tonight. Michaela?
Well, Lee, Diane, President Trump took to the stage at 7:18 tonight and wrapped up his speech at 8:48. Here's a breakdown of some of the highlights focused specifically on what Trump had to say about Toledo and Ohio.
Toledo, we love Toledo.
President Trump opened tonight saying to the crowd that he was thrilled to host his first rally of 2020 in Ohio.
Ohio just had the best year economically in the history of your state. That's not bad.
The POTUS mentioned how he's been to Toledo before he was elected, arguing the turnout is even better now.
Because in 2016, I said what we're going to do, but now I've completed more promises than I've made.
Trump saying at the podium that his administration has helped bring a lot of car companies and factories into Ohio, giving a special shout out to the Glass City Zone.
We take care of our great auto workers of Toledo, the home of Jeep. How good is Jeep?
During the Toledo rally, Trump gave thank yous to many Ohio Republican leaders.
And from Columbus to Toledo, this state is the home of proud families and farmers and miners and manufacturers and aviators and astronauts.
The president boasted about his success at the polls as he seeks re-election, leaving rally-goers fired up.
And we will make America great again. Thank you, Toledo. Thank you.
And during that nearly 2-hour-long speech, Trump also touched on the opioid epidemic plaguing our state. He says drug overdoses have fallen 22% since 2018. Back to you.
All right, Michaela, thank you. That arena filled with supporters tonight, many who had lined the streets as early as yesterday to get into tonight's rally.
That's right. Our crew is on the ground talking with those people, waiting hours to hear what the president had to say.
It was a pretty cool experience, though, just being out here.
It's a big deal for our city, and it's an important thing to our country to support our American president.
Of course, there were many in Toledo tonight not happy about the president's visit. Protesters at one point interrupted President Trump's speech. Our cameras rolling when that happened. Take a listen.
Well, the president went on to say those protesters being escorted out of the building, that was, as he put it, a beautiful thing. And as we brought it to you live in our 5 and 6 newscasts. And anti-President Trump protest was happening outside of the Huntington Center tonight.
13 ABC's Michael Bratton just outside that protest all night has the latest on that demonstration. News in 6, Michael.
Well, Lee, nearly 2 hours after President Trump's speech here in downtown Toledo, it's a much different, quieter scene here now. But as you mentioned, as supporters rallied inside, protesters set up camp outside, voicing their disdain with the president's stop. Now, protesters took up about one city block here in downtown Toledo, and while they all had different causes, they banded together to protest the president. Groups from the LGBTQ community, Black Lives Matter, and Planned Parenthood all made up the crowd out here. Others who were simply concerned with things like the environment, immigration, and the conflict in the Middle East also turned out. But as protesters had their say, those who support the president also set up camp, making their presence known too. The entire thing from start to finish happened under the watchful eye of police, who kept things under control.
It's being incredibly irresponsible in the Middle East and putting American lives at risk. Here locally, I know he's hurting our unions, which is always a negative for our area, especially with our manufacturing footprint.
I really would hope that they would just listen to us and listen to our reason and actually realize what Trump is doing for the country and all the good things he's done for our country. He's kept his promises. He's doing everything for America first.
Those presidential protesters and supporters remained in place during the entire 90-minute rally inside the Huntington Center. Meanwhile, here now, cleanup is underway as the city takes in that speech that President Trump gave here in downtown Toledo. For now, reporting live tonight, Michael Bratton, 13 ABC, Action News.
And we got late word from Toledo police that they did make some arrests and would be able to give a final count tomorrow. The state's top Democrat held a news conference in Toledo ahead of the president's rally. Ohio Democratic Party Chairman David Pepper says the reason the president started his 2020 campaign in Toledo is because Ohio isn't a sure thing for him.
2019 be the first year that Ohio's lost jobs since the Great Recession of 2009. So his promise that the jobs were coming back, and then when the jobs left Lordstown, he said it doesn't matter, there'll be other jobs. It's all come up empty.
Pepper added that Ohio soybean farmers don't think 2019 was the best year in the state. In fact, he called it the worst in a decade.
Turning now to another story involving pro-President Trump pop-up shop in Maumee. Our 13 ABC crew stopping by after seeing a Facebook post that alleged that pop-up shop was the target of arson. However, the Maumee police chief tells us he does not suspect foul play or arson. Instead, investigators think a space heater connected to a propane tank inside the trailer caught fire.
It's fake news. It's false. There was no markings on here. The trailer was here for 4 hours, parked, and there was no markings that any indication of what was inside the trailer. And the fire started inside the trailer and was locked and secured.
13 ABC got surveillance video of the flames when they popped up here, when they started. We also spoke with the people who run the shop. They tell us they're from Springfield, Missouri, and travel across the country for rallies. They estimate more than $20,000 worth of damage between the trailer and lost merchandise combined.
As of course, as we mentioned earlier, the president's visit to Toledo happens amid tensions in Iran. Iran fired on U.S. air bases in Iraq this week in retaliation for the U.S. airstrike that killed Iran's top military leader, Qasem Soleimani. And late Tuesday night, Iran launched 16 missiles at two Iraq bases where American troops are stationed. Nobody was killed or harmed in that attack. President Trump has mentioned several times now, including tonight in Toledo, that it appears Iran is standing down.
And on Capitol Hill, the House voting on a resolution to limit the president's war powers, something we discussed tonight. That did pass. The resolution would require the president to consult with Congress when it comes to military action. Some Republican lawmakers dismissing it. At the rally tonight, the president defending his orders, saying the regime was looking to blow up a U.S. embassy.
Soleimani was actively planning new attacks, and he was looking very seriously at our embassies, and not just the embassy in Baghdad. But we stopped him, and we stopped him quickly, and we stopped him cold.
And now turning to that deadly Ukrainian plane crash in Iran. That happened just hours after Iran launched ballistic missiles at coalition targets in Iraq. The flight crashed shortly after taking off from Tehran, killing all 176 people on board. Now, according to a U.S. official, the plane was shot down by two Russian-made surface-to-air missiles. American analysts claim they saw Iranian radar signals lock onto the jetliner before the crash. Iranian officials have recovered the 737's flight data recorders. The National Transportation Safety Board will participate in the investigation into what happened.
All right, turning to weather now. Today, not so bad, but we're getting ready for a soaking period coming up.
Yeah, I think a few drops have already begun to fall. Jay Birchback standing by with the very latest in the First Morning Forecast Center. Jay.
A few sprinkles in town, but temperatures are way up. So if it's not raining where you are, it's quite pleasant out there at 50 degrees. A little more moderate rainfall off to our south and east, but there is more to come. Look back in Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas. It is a conveyor belt of moisture, all tracking northeasterly. So all of us now under a flood watch. It kicks in tomorrow night through Saturday night. And with that in mind, some spots still could get over 3 inches of rain. Backside of it, and also in Michigan, chance for a little icing is still in the forecast as well. We'll time things out for you. Have that 7-day forecast when I come back. Stay tuned.
With all that heavy rain moving in, the city of Toledo says it has a plan in place if the area does see potential flooding.
Yeah, city asking you, first of all, to do your part to avoid the flooding. Clean out your gutters, make sure the downspouts are clear as well. And if you have a sump pump, make sure it's working ahead of the downpours.
And if you do have heavy flooding in your area, if you do experience it, call Engage Toledo. That number listed on your screen. City crews will be on standby to respond to flooded areas, and pumps will already be in place before the rain in locations that are known to flood.
Turning now to a crime and safety alert. A Toledo woman facing several charges after she allegedly choked one of her children and hit another with a pan. Rebecca Willibus facing several charges, including endangering children. According to police, officers arrived to a Mayo Street home to find Rebecca Willibus naked and assaulting her kids. She reportedly told police that she was trying to choke her 2-year-old son to death in order to protect him from a sex trafficking ring. She claims she hit her 10-year-old daughter with a pan because she believed the girl had sex with her boyfriend. Terrible story here. Police say the children were treated for their injuries. Of course, we'll monitor any developments in this story. Still ahead on Action News tonight. A new superhero for Marvel fans and its creator, not too far from Toledo.
3D under the sea, what we're learning about cuttlefish when they put on glasses.
And a fast food giant looking to retain workers with higher pay.
We're back in just 35 seconds.
Now, 13 ABC First Warning Weather with Chief Meteorologist Jay Burschbach.
It is cloudy and warm in the Glass City. The temperature is 50 degrees. South winds have really kicked up tonight, now at 18, gusting to 25, and that's the theme for the next several days. Warm, wet, and windy. 50 is leading the pack right now throughout the area for Toledo. Rest of us mid to upper 40s, and temperatures may fall back a couple degrees but then start to rise closer to sunrise. Showed you this map earlier. The rainfall now sliding northeasterly, and there's a lot more to come. Look how far back the moisture goes. It's actually connected in a way to the Gulf of Mexico. So with that, we're seeing with this right now with that line of rain, it's not going to move much over the next day or two. So still watching the heavier rainfall for just about everybody. 1 to 3 inches of rain for most of us. You head north of the Maumee, you get into that 2 to 4 inch rain area, and then you head north of that, you get the 2 to 4 inches of rain and maybe a glaze of ice, perhaps during the day Saturday and Saturday night. That's when the glaze is most likely up in Michigan, Hillsdale, Lenawee, Williams County. Best bets to see some of that icing. Let's time things out for you with Predictor now. Watching the maps through tomorrow morning. Rainfall will greet most of us. Could be heavy at times, but also notice some breaks. So yes, consistent for a few hours, then a half hour or two of a break, and then another consistent batch of rain, and then a little break. So it's a rather soaking rain when it comes in, but also a few hours to perhaps run to the store or get some errands done. Here's 7:30 in the evening. Rain showers still out there. We see some brighter colors work in for Saturday. This is 9:30, and this could be a line of thunderstorms, even a chance for a few lightning strikes tonight. So that's how energetic this system is. How about Saturday itself? Watching that freezing rain come awfully close to the state line. That's 3 o'clock. That wave moves on through, and a secondary wave works in. With it, more moisture. Freezing rain still pretty much locked in there near Irish Hills, Adrian, Hillsdale, Michigan. Rainfall here for Saturday evening, and it does move out quickly. Sunday looking dry, cold, and breezy. Tonight's low, 45 degrees. Southwest winds a little gusty with that rain likely. For tomorrow, the high, 55 degrees. Rain likely, warmer, slight chance of a thunderstorm in the morning. Beyond that, 56 Saturday, falling temps in the afternoon. So if you're going to be out there enjoying the warmth, get out early. Looking dry for Sunday, 36. Wind chills will be in the teens. 40s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And colder but dry next Thursday. The high, closer to average, right around 32 degrees.
Wacky.
So if you have drains out there, gutters, things like that, I know it's late, maybe in the morning before the rain gets really heavy, make sure things can drain off properly. Even in the streets and stuff, make sure leaves aren't covering those up.
Be a good citizen.
You can do your best.
Okay, Jay, thanks. Okay. Well, new year, new perks for Taco Bell workers. For the first time, employees are eligible for paid sick time. And managers at some restaurants will start pulling in six-figure salaries. The company says it hopes the benefits will help keep workers happy and increase retention.
Marvel has announced a new superhero. He's from Dearborn, Michigan, and created by a man from Dearborn. Amulet, a Lebanese American, will join the Ms. Marvel comic series. He gets his powers from an amulet that fights off the evil eye and used to be a defensive tackle, but didn't like hurting people. Amulet debuts in a couple of months.
And check this out. Scientists put 3D glasses on cuttlefish and then played video of the mollusk's prey in 3D. Sure enough, the mollusks were fooled by the effect and use their tentacles to reach out to their prey. The study shows the animal's eyes have well-developed depth perception. One scientist says it's even better than humans, at least humans who get older, like some of us. I'm not talking about me.
Does need readers?
Yeah, all of them. I need all the glasses.
Well, all right, let's move on to sports. We have a hockey athlete of the week from Findlay with that a must-see goal, you might see. Michigan goes to double overtime. Wassy and Archbold go to overtime. And we got a dunk and a three-quarters court shot from the Southview-Perrysburg game. Keep it right here. First, here are tonight's winning lottery numbers from your official lottery station, 13 ABC.
Now, 13 ABC Action Sports with BCSN. Here's Sports Director Justin Feldkamp.
Hi there, everyone. We are ready to rock for another edition of Dave White Chevrolet Basketball Friday. We'll see you tomorrow at 11. Tonight, an appetizer for the main course with a girls-boys doubleheader between Southview and Perrysburg. Perrysburg won the girls' game 42-37. Both boys teams in this matchup undefeated coming in. First half, Southview in orange. The Cougars had some careless passes tonight. Zach Miller with the steal for Perrysburg. Easy layup. Later, it would be his teammate Nick Kilbride getting it to Jackson Sizemore. Sizemore had 21 points to lead the Yellow Jackets. Then watch this next play. Right before the half, Grant Paul from three-quarters court. Bang! Even with that, Southview down by 19 at the half. Third quarter, Paul with a more conventional three-pointer. Southview tried to close the gap, but then this. Harrison Hostler with the put-back slam. Ranked 9th in the state, Perrysburg wins 76-55. They are 10-0. College hoops, Purdue and Michigan. What a game, straight to the end. Michigan ball down 2 in the final seconds. Xavier Simpson drives and scores to tie it. We go to overtime and then double overtime. It's Simpson again for 3, 22 for him. Michigan wins 84-78. Time for the athlete of the week, who scored a simple goal that has him receiving national attention. Here's Steve Slifka.
It's a simple stick handling trick Harry Hall practices often. Well, simple for Harry.
I do it all the time out here, and just little things with the puck, getting on the ice a little bit early. And then I get encouragement from my teammates. That always helps.
His skill set is, I'd say, the top 10 in the state. When he works hard and puts his effort in there, he's one of the better players in the state.
In a recent game in Dayton, Hall flipped the puck onto the blade of his stick and quickly put the puck into the net. Timing is everything, but even more so with this scoring trick.
The opportunity was there, and I got a good pass from the teammate and just tucked it, and to be on the ice with the guys is pretty cool.
Coach Somerville looked at me and asked me, did he actually just pull that off? And I'm like, yeah, I think he did. So it was kind of like one of those, holy cow, like he just pulled that off in a game.
I only seen like NHL players or college players ever do. I've never seen a high school player be able to tuck it twice. He did it last year, and now he's done it this year too.
The goal quickly caught the eye of producers for SportsCenter's Top 10 on ESPN, landing Hall at number 3. And yes, the television program still sticks with this generation.
All my teachers, they're playing it in class for me on the smart boards, and be popped up there.
The Trojans are a few games shy of 500 and hope Hall and his team, leading 12 goals and 17 assists, help Findlay as the season moves along.
Hopefully this will give him some confidence and hopefully play his game and use that skill set that he has.
In Findlay, with this week's Athlete of the Week, Steve Slifka, 13 ABC Action Sports.
Good stuff there. All right, we're 20 months away from the 2021 Solheim Cup at Inverness Club, and today Team USA named Pat Hurst as their captain. She's a former player and assistant captain.
Absolutely a wise choice. Pat is one of those people that she has such drive from the belly. She's such a grinder, but then again, she's so passionate and really connects, not only with our older players, but our young players as well.
Still to come, John Beeline found himself in some hot water, and today he tried to cool the temperature.
All right, weekend's almost here, and here comes a wet weekend.
Yeah, wet, more like April out there. And even for April, this would be a heavy batch of rain. So we're expecting 1 to 3 inches of rain for most by the time it wraps up late Saturday evening. Tomorrow, though, for the bus stop, a wet start, mid-40s, a wet finish. The high temperature in the lower 50s. We'll keep the 50s early Saturday, and still that chance for a little bit of an icing in Michigan Saturday evening. So we'll keep you updated on that.
Unlike Football Friday, the rain doesn't bother basketball.
That's correct. Yeah, we've got Basketball Friday coming our way tomorrow. A big game tonight in the NWAL. Might have seen it on the ticker. Archbold won in overtime against Wauseon. Tomorrow, St. John's at home against St. Francis.
Okay, we'll look for that later in the day.
There.
Yeah, but first, be up to the minute. The minute you're up, 13 ABC Action News. Good morning at 4:30 a.m.
Night, everyone.
Good night.